have done it. We have done it. We've done it.
Official.
All righty.
Reverend L. Victor's name is on the ballot. Reverend Earl Victor's name is on the ballot for 5th Congressional Congress of the United States House.
All righty, folks. I'm Robert Burns with Sound Off Louisiana. We're here live from where, as Miss Belinda Parker Brown just mentioned, Pastor Victor has qualified for the 5th Congressional District. As most of you would know, unfortunately, Mr. Luke Letlow, who actually won the election back in November, unfortunately passed away from COVID. And as everyone would know, Miss Parker Brown has been quite vocal about COVID and the problems in the prison. So I'm going to let her take it away. She has another gentleman standing right to her left. Yeah, I've always had trouble with that. To her left, to my right. So, and I'm going to let her introduce him. And he has actually qualified for the 2nd Congressional District.
Congratulations.
Where?
There we go. Hi, guys. Make sure you vote for Lloyd Kelly for 2nd Congressional District of Congress. Lloyd Kelly. Remember the name.
All right. So, Mr. Kelly. So, Mr. Kelly, I'll just ask you, what was the primary motivating factor that prompted you to get in the race?
That's a long story, but the short version is that last week I got a call from Belinda Parker Brown and Mr. Charles Lincoln, Belinda Parker Brown, Mr. Charles Lincoln, and they and some other folks were on the call that I didn't know, and they said, Lloyd, would you be interested in running for Congress? Well, not would you be interested, but would you run? And for Cedric's seat. And I thought, well, can I think about this? Because why me? And they said, well, no, we really need to answer quick. And I said, well, give me a day or two. That next 2 days later, I'm going to the gas station to get my coffee that I normally do every day, and I see the headlines in the paper, and it is that New Orleans is facing foreclosures higher at a rate higher than any place else in the entire country. And it just was like divine intervention, because I had spent the summer with Mr. Lincoln putting together a temporary restraining order banning the governor and the mayor of New Orleans from lifting the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures. And I said, that's it. That's my sign. So I called them up and I said, yes, I'll run. I'm going to do it. That's going to be my issue.
All righty. So, and you have just qualified, correct?
I have.
And I understand that you have the nickname of Mr. Washington. Am I correct on that? And can you elaborate on?
Absolutely. I am AKA Mr. Washington. Thank you, Judge Mary Hotard Becknell. Thank you so much for that. I got that nickname because obviously I'm with Belinda and our Louisiana United International, and in my association with them years ago when we first met, Belinda called me at 6 o'clock in the morning and said, would you go to court with me? Now you have to understand that LUI has put a prosecutor, a coroner, and a sheriff in prison. Okay, so she called me and said, would you go to court with me today? And this was when we were going after
Walter Reed.
Walter Reed, thank you, Walter Reed. And I thought, well, okay, sure. And I thought we were going to the federal courthouse.
Okay.
Well, she gets to my house about 7:30, and she says, you drive. I'm driving. And I'm turning off to go to New Orleans, and she said, oh no, we're going to St. John the Baptist Parish. I've never heard of St. John the Baptist Parish. And she said, well, what's going on? I said, so what's going on? She said, it's a murder trial. Well, who murdered somebody? This is going to be a lot of fun, because I've never been to a murder trial. So then she tells me the story of Errol and Tanya Victor. And I thought, well, there's a little child involved here. That's awful. And she said, Lloyd, no, there's so much that you don't know. Just be cool. We're going to see what happens. We get there. The judge has denied him representation. And so the only thing that Belinda could do was say, okay, we're going to sit here and do what we can to support. So I'm sitting directly behind Mr. Victor, who has never seen me, who I have never seen before, that moment. And I'm listening to voir dire starts. That's where they pick a jury. And I start writing questions for him. And I just handed it to him. You should have seen the look. It was hysterical. You should have seen the look on his face. Like, his look was, who are you? I don't know you. And so I just kept handing these questions. 10:45, or 10:30, the judge calls a recess. 15 minutes. I come back 5 minutes late. And as I'm walking in, the judge from the bench says, "Mr. Washington." I continue to walk. And Mr. Washington, I sit down in my seat. I'm wondering why this Mr. Washington person doesn't answer the judge. The bailiff steps up and taps me on the shoulder and says, "The judge is speaking to you." And I was like, "Oh, no. My name is not Mr. Washington." And the judge says, and I quote, "It doesn't matter." I said, "Well, my name is Mr. Kelly." And she said, "Okay, then Mr. Kelly, I'm assigning you to assist Mr. Victor with this case."
And I assume you're a lawyer, of course.
You would be wrong.
Oh.
No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, not a paralegal, nothing. The judge did not know me. The defendant did not know me. I did not know either of them. And this person assigns me to assist Mr. Victor with this case. Well, I can say this. At that particular moment, I was in for everything I had because I knew there had to be something to this if she could do something that egregious.
So with no law degree, you were basically ordered by a judge to practice law?
On a case that I have absolutely no knowledge of.
Okay.
I didn't know Mr. Victor. I had never heard of Errol or Tanya Victor prior to 6 a.m. Prior to more like 8:30 that morning.
Okay.
I never heard of them. And so I felt like if they could do this to him, they could do it to anybody. So for the last, 6, 7 years, we have been fighting to at least get him a fair trial.
All righty. Well, is there anything you want to add on this introductory? If not, we'll gradually transition over to Ms. Parker Brown to speak about the developments for Pastor Victor today. But is there anything else you'd like to add as you launch
Absolutely.
this campaign? Feel free.
I'd like to ask the voters of the 2nd Congressional District, what has Cedric Richmond ever done for you?
Okay.
Okay. Last Friday, the New Orleans Advocate's headline was "New Orleans facing foreclosure crisis." Cedric, where was the federal legislation that stopped any eviction or any moratorium, at least until the pandemic is over?
Okay.
That is what I'm running on. I don't want to see people in the 2nd Congressional District homeless because they can't go to jobs because the government shut down the workplace.
Okay.
So, Cedric, you owe us an explanation for that. And Troy, Karen, and all the rest of you have had years to fix this. You haven't, so I'm stepping up so that we can really get something done. And don't come at me with these no-answer political answers, because I want to know where the legislation is. That's why I'm running for Congress in the 2nd Congressional District. I hope you will support me.
Very good. Well, we appreciate you being a guest on Sound Off Louisiana and the honor of coming over here and covering you qualifying today for the 2nd Congressional District in Washington. Send Mr. Washington to Washington.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you.
You're quite welcome.